Welcome to the Artsy Raven, a show about writing, publishing, and the arts. With your host, the award-winning writer, editor, and publisher, J.F. Gerard.
Welcome to another episode of the Artsy Raven, and today our special guest is Brian Ceci. For Brian, growing up hard of hearing was something that was seldom acknowledged, but clearly a very important part of daily life. Brian's career evolved into a more visual medium, and this unfolded much later, catapulting him all over the world, documenting the human condition with his camera. Brian has shot numerous documentaries as a director of photography on networks like Discovery, OMNI and Telus Originals. The idea of leaning into his hearing came much later through a series of events over decades, which ultimately led to this film's creation. Brian's hope is that this film will help people understand the limitations of hearing loss across its spectrum while helping empower people on their journey with their own hearing. And the film is called Heard, and we'll have a link in our podcast notes below. So, welcome, Brian.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Yeah, so I actually didn't have much of a background at all in film until my 20s. I've met a lot of prodigies over the last few years who've been, shooting since they were 5 because their parents gave them a camera and they got into it that way. I fell into it because I was traveling and I saw that there was just something that I thought would be interesting to capture, and went to film school, and the rest is history.
Okay. Now, you spend a lot of time working on other productions, right? So, what made you decide it was time to tell your own story?
Yeah, I actually like shooting other people's projects because you just learn so much about different subjects, and it's always at random. Um, this time it just came from curiosity just about my own hearing. I wear hearing aids. I've had them since I was a child, and I never really took a second to take a look at them. Um, and So the curiosity of just wanting to know a little bit about my own hearing came, and that just led to a series of conversations with different people, other hard of hearing people, other creative people. Um, and so yeah, it just ultimately came to a head when my co-writer Nigel Edwards kind of provoked me to think more deeply about telling my story.
Now, I also have some friends that are hard of hearing, but I think throughout their childhood, they found it very embarrassing. Like, they wouldn't admit it, and they would take it out, and then they wouldn't be able to hear. And the way they announced it, and like the way they spoke was different, so you could sort of tell. Now, did you have any problems finding subjects for this documentary?
I didn't have any problems, but it definitely wasn't easy. Um, I mean, like, I actually had trouble finding men in particular. There is a stigma around hearing aids, just in general, especially with young people. I think it's because it's meant to be something that old people wear, or something like that. Uh, so after searching, I found one other guy who had a hearing loss, and but that was it, really. Like, it was very difficult to find that. But there's tons of women who are eager to speak up about it for some reason.
I think women just want to talk about anything, so I think it makes it a little bit easier. They're willing to
Yeah.
talk more. But for yourself, can you tell us a little bit about your training? Like, how did you know there was an issue with your hearing? Like, was it your parents that caught on to it first?
Yeah, my mom saw when I was 3. She told me that I was watching TV, and she was making something to eat, and then was calling me for to come get it. And I didn't answer, and so she. It wasn't until she like walked into my vision that she noticed that I really wasn't. I wasn't paying attention because I couldn't hear, not because I was ignoring her. Um, and so she took me to the doctor, and they checked my hearing out. I think at this day and age, they actually check your hearing right away.
Yeah, they do it at schools now. It's like a program. Yeah.
No, even when you're a baby, like when you
Oh, okay. Oh,
first
that.
are
Yes, yes.
born, they do
Yeah.
it very early. So I guess they might have checked it and it seemed fine, or they didn't do it properly or something. Um, so I got hearing aids when I was about 3 years old.
Yeah, so you've had it all your life, so it's not like it's it's part of you, like, as you're growing up, I guess. So
Yeah, actually, I stopped wearing them when I was 13. I got bullied quite a bit in school, so I actually did stop wearing them uh, till I was 28. From 13 to 28, I
what?
didn't wear hearing aids. Yeah.
Did you like how was your hearing without it?
I mean, I can hear, but I'm missing a lot of things. On my audiogram, I'm missing mostly high pitched sounds. So if you
Mhm.
think about it, speech is just made up of a bunch of sounds, and high pitched sounds exist in the consonants. Um, so like these sounds that make up words, and so you miss a lot of context with that. Um, so yeah, I my grades slipped in school. I became more quiet, apparently. Yeah, it wasn't an easy time, but I think I just was you know, um, a teenager that I don't know wanted to prove a point or something. Um,
So why did you decide to start wearing the hearing aids again?
I started wearing them because I was going into meetings for my work as a cinematographer, filmmaker, and I go with multiple people in meetings and look trying to hear everybody around the room while taking notes and things. I miss out a lot of things, or I would just say something and have that record scratch moment. Um, and so I thought my hearing was getting worse. So I went and got my hearing tested, and turns out it wasn't. It was just uh, I needed to wear hearing aids again. So I tried them, and it was a big difference. So I haven't
So
looked back.
so yeah, you were working for on all these other projects. So what was the moment that inspired you to decide to make this documentary heard?
It was a series of moments. The main one I would say is I saw another film at VIFF, um, at Vancouver International Film Festival. I went and saw a film called Eight Stories about my hearing loss, which is an Argentinian film about a girl who had a condition. Their whole family had it, where they would all lose their hearing over time. Um, and so it's sort of like a film where they talk a lot about the grief of losing their hearing, and yeah, a lot of things that were said in that film I had never heard before. So um, that was a big inspiration to make something that I think was also fitted for like a North American audience, but also just my experience because I knew how to talk about that.
Okay. Now, while making the documentary, was there anything happen that surprised you?
Anything that happened that surprised me. I mean, it was all very difficult. Um, I really had a tough time sort of being vulnerable and letting go of the idea that I had to hide it because it was like I was in plain sight. Um, the things that surprised me came later when I screened the film, and the people that related to the film weren't even necessarily hearing that. I think it really struck a chord with all invisible disabilities.
Mhm.
Um, so that could be anything from autism to um, diabetes to ADHD, anything that's sort of an invisible disability seemed to be relatable, and that surprised me a lot.
Okay. Now, do you find people have misconceptions about others that are hard of hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people think that, especially when you have hearing aids or cochlear implants, you put them in and that's it, you're good. Um, but they're tools, so they're not
Mhm.
perfect. they do a job and they help you out, but they really have their limitations, especially in noisy environments. I
Mm.
find my hearing aids are almost useless in noisy environments. Unfortunately, it's one of the things that I wish I could fix. Kind of like wearing some of these like noise canceling headphones. I wish I could do something like that and isolate speech, but we're not quite there yet.
Mm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of things that I think people just need to know about hard of hearing people and what they deal with. And that's a big reason why I made the film is because there's so many films about deafness, um, like capital D cultural signing deaf, um, which is amazing because those people are need people to understand their culture. But there's this big space between hearing and capital D deaf that no one really talks about, no one really cares about.
Mhm.
So that was the point of making this film, is just to help people understand that like this isn't easy for us. Like we just deal with it every day, and that's what we deal with. But it's just not talked about.
Now, what do you hope members of the hard of hearing community see in themselves when they watch the film?
I can't speak for everybody,
Mhm.
but I do think that people resonate with it because there's a lot of themes that just are attached to belonging. And like I said, the community um, has a tough time, I think, getting sort of together in a group. So when I made the screenings in the film, the big idea is to get people together in the same room, ask questions, talk about it, get hearing people to come to talk about it as well. Um, I think that's the relatability of it. It's just shared experiences coming together and just a mutual understanding that we're all here just to belong somewhere.
Now, what was the biggest challenge in making this film? Was it like a finance, or was it finding people, or?
Well, financing is definitely a challenge. I mean, in Canada, there's only a certain amount of funding bodies available to you in each province. So, you have to work with what you have. Um, I'm finding distribution very challenging. Just
Mm.
getting it out there to people to watch. Like, as far as it goes, only a few hundred people have seen or maybe a couple thousand people have seen the film,
Mm.
which is so small. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what, is possible. I'm finding that's the biggest challenge. Um, Making the film is obviously hard for me in particular, but I've shot a lot of things. I've been around a lot of directors, so I understand what is needs to happen.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so technically, it wasn't very hard to make. It was just more like emotionally and then financially.
Mm. Now, has making the film changed you personally, do you find? Because this is like your
Oh,
project
absolutely.
compared to the other projects or other people's, right? So,
Yeah, I love what I do because you learn so much about such specific things. Sometimes it's things that you have no idea about. Like for example, I'm actually the next project I've been working on is about surrogates, um,
mhm,
which is a man without kids, something I would never encounter.
mhm.
Um, it's very interesting. Um, but yeah, like it's changed me personally because I think that I was really actually trying to hide it for my entire life. Even later in life, when I had them as well, I mean, like I just found it hard. Like
Mhm.
I found dating hard. Um, I find people just thinking things about you hard. But I don't really care anymore about it. It's really given me the confidence to just be like, yeah, like talk about them. I don't mind. Like ask about them. Um, and I think you'll be surprised to what you hear when you ask somebody about something like this.
Okay. Let's switch gears a bit. Now, for people that want to do the same thing you're doing to become a filmmaker, do you have any advice to give people?
Yeah, I have lots of advice. I mean, like I got into this for the right reasons, and the right reasons is to love what you do, to be really passionate about what you do. And so even in filmmaking, there's tons of different positions and roles that come up. Uh, and if you love that thing, that's like you should do it. If you're getting in the industry to make money, not sure that it's the right one. Um, that being said, it doesn't not make money. It's just like you have to really press. I've been doing this for 17 years, and it's still not easy. You really have to continue um, to advocate for yourself, to talk to other people, to um, yeah, just be easy to work with, all kinds of things. Um, yeah, my advice would be to just, if you really love it, that's what you should do. But if you're getting into it because of ego or because of the wrong reasons, then it might not be a good fit.
Okay. Now, what do you wish you had known before you started your filmmaking career?
Um, I guess I thought that there would be like kind of like a bit of a ladder that would be one rung after another, and then you would get to the place you want to be. I'm finding that it's actually more like you cross sort of thresholds that you aim at. So, for example, when I first started, you're looking at the idea of what your career shapes up to be, and I thought I'd be, at this level here, at by this age or whatever. And then when you don't get there, you go, oh, like how did that person get there or whatever. But what ends up happening is when you cross that sort of threshold, a new one appears eventually that's a little higher than what you're looking for, and a new goal emerges. um, and so you are technically over that threshold, but your idea of like what success looks like changes. And so you're aiming for the new one, and then you pass that one, and then a new one forms. And then sometimes you actually drop down one or two. So I think what I would have liked to if I could tell myself that is like just be patient. It all will shake down at the end, um, because there is no real end. It keeps going, um, and the success is actually just staying in it. That's the thing is the success in the industry is just staying in it.
Okay. Now, we often hear that for filmmaking, you should leave Canada. Like, has that ever crossed your mind?
Sorry,
Like,
can you repeat that?
I said, oh, for some people, like when they think about the filmmaking industry, they think about the US more, that if you want to be successful, you should leave Canada. Has that ever occurred to you?
No, I don't want to work in the U.S. whatsoever. Um, in fact, I prefer to do basically anywhere else. But that's just me. Like I'm not attached to the financial sort of aspect of it as much as some other people are. Like, um, I also don't care about like being, the next big like DP. Like, I, I'm in this because I'm curious about it. I think it's a puzzle. Um, so I don't know. Like, if you think that you should go to the United States to level up, to me, it's like you're jumping into a bigger pond, and you're just a small fish in a big pond. And then a lot of people have success down there, and that's so great for them. And I'm like stoked if that's what you want to do, But it's just not for me.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me.
The Artsy Raven is produced by Dark Helix Press. Introduction voiceover by Chris Gorman. Music by Tim Moore. Please access your bonus content on the Patreon website. Thank you very much for listening, and please stay safe.